All right, we are recording now. It is half past midnight. UFC 213, Romero versus freaking Whittaker. I'm gonna talk about. I fucking. This is the first video I've made in a long time. I've been procrastinating every fucking event. I always say I'm gonna make a video and I never make a video. I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it tomorrow. Last week's event I was gonna do and I never did it. So I psych myself up. I'm gonna start making these videos. I have to stop being a lazy fuck. Anyway, let me. How do I close this shit? How the fuck do I close this shit? Oh, here it is. I guess I don't have to close it. Anyway, UFC 213, Romero versus Whittaker. So this card, I'm going to start off by talking about last night's matchup between Justin Gaethje and Michael Johnson. That fight was a fucking phenomenal fight. I think that Michael Johnson, he took a shit, man. He had him hurt twice in that fight, but he didn't swarm him. He should have swarmed him and taken him out, but he didn't. I guess he got tired. I don't know what the hell Michael Johnson was thinking. He got TKO'd. Justin Gaethje's your new. I mean, he defeated the number 5 guy, so I guess he gets to, fight one of the contenders. He called out Tony Ferguson. I actually think that'd be a good fight. I would love to see Justin Gaethje against. Am I saying his name right? Gaethje, whatever the fuck. Him and Nate Diaz would be a dope ass matchup. But yeah, man. So I was actually pulling for Michael Johnson in that fight. I wanted Michael to win. I always favor people with seniority. Michael Johnson's been in the UFC for a long time, so I never root for people who just got there. I understand Gaethje was the World Series of Fighting champion and all this shit. He's not a nobody, but I like people to pay their dues in the UFC. Michael Johnson's paid his dues. I was hoping he'd win. He ended up getting TKO'd. It was a good win for Justin Gaethje. Gaethje still comes off as a big dick, but hey, I'm excited that we have a scrapper in the UFC in the heavyweight. In the lightweight division. That division is so stacked now. We got so many great fighters in that division, so it's exciting that we have another guy who's going to come to fight and bring it every time. Congratulations to Gaethje. Welcome to the UFC. Now Romero versus Whittaker, which was supposed to be Amanda Nunes versus Valentina Shevchenko. Man, what a fucking story this was, huh? How crazy is this? We have this event that falls apart because Amanda Nunes says she's not feeling well. TMZ Sports reports it. And at first I saw it on my Facebook feed. I was like, what the fuck? She's not fighting. And I had to check the sources. I found out it was true. And then now we're hearing stories that the doctors cleared her and they said she could fight, but she didn't want to fight. She wasn't feeling well. So she pulled herself from the card, and this fucked everything up. They shifted a couple fights. They put let's see, what fight is this? They moved up Rob Font versus Douglas Silva de Andrade. And you know what? I actually missed that fight. By the time I got invited to my friend's house to watch it. By the time I got there, that fight was just ending. So I missed that fight. And the other fight I wanted to see was the Travis Brown fight. So I actually just got done watching those 2 fights on YouTube. I had to look them up on YouTube. I found them. Actually glad I watched them. I wish I would have been able to see them live. Wow. Those were some pretty interesting, especially the Travis Brown fight, man. Travis Brown loses again. 4 fucking fights in a row he's lost. Coach Edmond racking up those W's. This Alexei Olenek dude, man. I saw this guy fight back in, let's see, who did he fight? He fought, it says here, Victor Pesta. I guess that's the fight I saw. I saw him fight. Yeah, I guess it was this one, Ezekiel Choke. And I was really impressed with this dude. I don't know much about him, but I guess he's like some master grappler. Alexei Olenek, the boa constrictor, 6'2", 245. Russian dude. I like this guy, man. This guy's like a high level. What is his martial art that he does? It says jujitsu. No, jujitsuka. What the fuck is jujitsuka? Jujitsuka, combat sambo, and grappler. What is jujitsuka? Never heard of jujitsuka. Oh, he's a jujitsu practitioner. How the fuck have I never heard that term, jujitsuka? So a jujitsuka is somebody who does jujitsu. I've never fucking heard that in my life, and I've been watching this shit for over 20 years. Jujitsuka. We've all heard of judoka, but I've never heard of jujitsuka. Well, I don't know what his main grappling art is that he studies, but this guy's obviously a master on the mat, and he submitted Travis Brown. Like I said, I just watched that fight on YouTube, and Travis Brown looked sloppy as fuck. And I was actually surprised Travis Brown turned around so quick to fight, because he just lost to Derek Lewis for March, April, May, June, July. Fuck, that was way back in February? I thought he had fought sooner than that. Man, I'm getting all confused with these fights. So Derek Lewis knocked his ass out way back in February. That was almost 5 months ago. I thought he had just fought a couple months ago. Fuck, I'm all right, so I guess it's okay. So Travis Brown loses 4 in a row. That is so wild, man. 4 in a row. And if you look at his record, I'm looking at his record right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. In his last 8 fights, going back to 2014, going back 3 years, in his last 8 fights, he's got 2 wins and 6 losses. Holy shit. He only has 2 wins, one against Brendan Schaub, who's not even in the UFC anymore, and Matt Mitrione, who's not in the UFC anymore. Travis Brown is done. I wonder how many fights he's got left on his contract. His Bellator time, Travis. I did not know his record was this fucking bad. I mean, I knew he had been on a losing streak, but I didn't know it was this bad. Holy shit. 2 and 6 in his last 8 fights. God damn. Wow. Okay. Yeah, I didn't realize it was this bad for Travis, for old Travis. It might be time, like I said, it might be Bellator time. Back to UFC 213. So he gets submitted by Alexei Olenek. I think I'm an Alexei Olenek fan. He has a new fan. I'm a fan of Alexei Olenek. I always like rallying around guys like this that you hardly hear about, but he's pretty dangerous. He's a master grappler. I like dudes like this. So I am now on the Alexei Olenek bandwagon. Rob Font versus Deandraj. As I said, I missed that fight on the main card, but I just watched it right now on YouTube. It was a pretty interesting fight. Rob Font submitted his ass. Pretty good fight, whatever. Good for him. The next fight, Anthony Pettis versus Jim Miller. That fight was a very good fight. I knew it was going to be a good fight when they announced it, and sure enough, it delivered. It was a fucking scrap. Just a great performance by both of the dudes, 2 warriors. Tough dude, Jim Miller. Jim Miller just didn't seem to have to, Anthony Pettis has such a reach advantage. It was Pettis all day for that one. Curtis Blades, heavyweight matchup. Curtis Blades versus Daniel Omelianczuk, or whatever the hell, this big fat Polish dude with tattoos. That fight should not have been on the main card. That was a really crappy fight. I mean, shitty ass fight. And honestly, it could have gone either way. They gave it to Blades. I don't give a fuck who won that fight. I mean, how old is this Curtis Blades dude? Curtis Blades is he's only 26, so he can only go up. But he's not. I was not impressed. Daniel Omelianczuk. How many fights does Omelianczuk have in the UFC? She's got a lot of fights, man. This guy does not belong. Neither of these guys belong on the main card right now, man. That was a mistake putting him on there, but whatever. I guess you got to fill some time up. That was a really crappy fight. Everybody in the house was talking shit about that fight. The co-main event of the evening, Alistair-Overeem versus Fabricio Werdum. That was fucking controversial as hell. First of all, it wasn't a great fight. It was, I don't know what's going on with Jackson Wink, man. I'm not a fan of Jackson Wink as of late. In my opinion, they've been struggling lately. You know, didn't Michelle Watterson just lost recently? Holly Holm has been a disappointment up until last week when she got her knockout. Congrats to her, finally. But the way they fight at Jackson Wink, especially Holly Holm, she's so fucking hesitant trying to be a counter striker. And now they got Alistair-Overeem doing that bullshit. I mean, the whole fight, he was like fighting like this, like he was looking for somebody. The first 2 rounds, you know, it could have gone either way, really uneventful. And then in the 3rd round, Alistair pretty much dominated it. I thought Alistair was going to get the win, just he squeaked it out. And they fucking give it to Overeem. So I guess now Overeem gets the title shot, or does he? That's the question. When's the last time he fought Stipe? He fought Stipe in September. Last September, he fought Stipe. So, I mean, I guess he gets a rematch. It's been, by the time they do fight, it'll be, you know, around a year. So, he's got a win. He knocked out Mark Hunt, and now he got a majority decision. That's the other thing. How the fuck can you give the majority decision to Alistair-Overeem? You should have at least given him the 3rd. The fuck out of here with that. But yeah, I'm looking at Overeem's record. He's got a pretty good record as of late. He only has 1 loss in his last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 fights. So he's 7-1 in his last 8 fights. No, I take that back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm sorry, he's 6-1 in his last 7 fights. But so I guess he's next in line for the title shot. But like, I wasn't that impressed by his performance tonight. And Fabricio is gonna fucking kill him if he fights like that again. And then the main event, Robert Whittaker versus Yoel Romero. Watch, I'm drinking this fucking water, and that's gonna be my thumbnail. YouTube always picks the worst fucking thumbnails. Should have got more water, man. The way everyone scored, I agree with the way they scored this fight. The first 2 rounds to Romero, and then the last 3 rounds to Whittaker. Romero fucking stopped fighting after the 2nd round. I mean, he pretty much just quit fighting, especially, what was that, round 3? He didn't do shit. Romero didn't do shit in the 3rd round. I was pulling for Romero. I wanted Romero to win. He didn't do jack shit. Whittaker pretty much was, you know, and I guess he was hurt. His knee was hurt because the way Romero kicked it with that fucking, what do they call those? What do they call that kick? I forgot about the kick. They call that the kick that he was using has a certain name. John Jones's that Romero used. John Jones uses that kick all the time. It really should be illegal. It's a really fucked up maneuver. Could blow out a knee like that. But Romero did it to Whittaker. And Romero did it to Whittaker and fucked him up. But hey, Whittaker did enough to win. He won that shit convincingly. Now he's next in line. You have Michael Bisping being a dickhead on the side of the cage, ripping a Cuban flag, and then going in there and throwing the belt on the floor. Dude, come on, dude. He was probably drunk. I don't know what the fuck's going on with Bisping. I like Bisping, but lately he's been acting like a shithead. So there it is, man. UFC 213. I wasn't that impressed with the card. It was okay. A few good fights, like I said. Anthony Pettis versus Jim Miller was good. The main card, Robert Whittaker, good for him. He won. I mean, it really wasn't that great of a pay-per-view, especially a pay-per-view. You know what I mean? Like, if this had been on FS1 or Fox, I wouldn't have been complaining as much. But people had to pay for this shit. And I don't think it was really worth pay-per-view worthy, the end result. But, you know, hindsight 2020, it is what it is. And like I said, I'm going to try to make these videos more often after the fight. You got to make them after the fight. What are we at? We're at 15 minutes. All right. So that's that. All right, guys. I better go because I don't know how much time I got left of this. So I'm going to close this shit out. Peace out.